Hey guys, it's Michelle with Cashel Creations. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you guys are new here. Thank you guys for joining me today. I wanted to play with some resin, and I had recently shared with you these fun UV resin mold from Hobby Lobby of dinos. They're just so stinking cute. And with Jurassic Park opening again this summer, actually in a few weeks, I figured why not? So I went ahead and made some just to kind of get a feel for them. And I want to share with you some of my do's and don'ts of what worked for me in case you were looking in trying this, or maybe you have and you have some tips for me. I'm open to that. So what I did was I made different types of the dinos in different colors. I also played with making earrings or just using them as flat backs. And also I attempted to do some with charms. So I'm going to show you what I did and what I didn't do, or what I did wrong. So with the resin flatback earrings, basically I'm using just a flatback base that I believe Hobby Lobby does sell. I think that's where I acquired these from. In my little container here, I have just my earring backs. I have different sizes, bigger ones and smaller ones. I don't know the millimeters or centimeter size, but you definitely want to do the small ones for these types of dinos. I also have some in gold, and then I have some eyelet twisty things. I don't know what they're called. And then the backings that go with the earrings. So kind of like my little I guess piecing to go kit kind of thing. And then this container I did pick up from Walmart, if you were wondering where I got that from, in their jewelry section. So what I did was I made earrings for some of them, and then I also wanted to try putting the it's not an eyelet, it is a screw, maybe an eyelet screw. I don't remember what the actual name is, but I know it's a screw head. So what happened was, how do you get the screw in there? I'm sure is your question. I use one of these Dremels. I found this off of Amazon. I've looked on previous videos and they no longer sell this exact one, but you definitely want to look for a Dremel or a rotary tool. This has different attachments on here, but I really just use the same attachment, so I've just left it on. This is where you would remove the attachment on the top, and then it has 3 different settings, and you can basically see, and then you turn it off. On the back here, it does have a charging port. Now, I have had this probably for about 3 to 4 years, and I've not had to recharge it once, which is a little weird, but it is what it is. But just in case you are interested in what I use. Now, one thing I want to note is that you definitely have to figure out how long your head is, the stick is for your screw. Only because this one, let me show you. This one, for example, there was supposed to be the hook on the top. And I think this is the gold one. And it broke off. Here's the other half. Because I was applying too much force in my turn, but then I realized I didn't use my Dremel to come down far enough for it to work. So I was basically putting too much pressure and force on it, and it snapped. Or it could be that they're just old and they broke off, but I think it was that I didn't go further enough. The other thing was, where's the other one? This one was actually the first one I tried to do, and that's where I had that same problem. I didn't go down far enough, and so this one was the first one that snapped. But then I did attempt again, and then what I did was I went further down. So you definitely want to check the back, because the back I think is more visible for you to see than the front, for you to gauge how far down your Dremel tool should reach before you attempt to screw in this head, because if it's not long enough, you're going to have a problem where it snaps off, and then you get frustrated, and then you just, stop doing it. Or you could just leave them flat. I try not to over pour, which is a little tricky. Try not to over pour your resin, because then if you over pour it, that's when it kind of goes over your mold, and then you got to figure out how to sand it off or all that stuff. And I'd rather not do more work than what's needed when you're just playing, right? So These little guys are just so stinking cute. Now, how did I get the color? So let me, I guess, show you what I'm using. So when Joanne was in session, in business, they had this brand, Hildy and Joe Resin Craft, and this is a UV resin. I know now there's probably a ton of UV resin options out there. I find this to be the easiest to play with if that's solely your purpose. If you're using huge projects for resin, then I would do the 2-step formula, which is 1-part or 2-part formula, where you have to do the mixture. And I just really don't want to do that. I don't want to have to measure. I'm lazy. So I opted for this one. Now, regardless of what type of resin you use, even though I use UV resin, you definitely want to have a ventilated room. Open up a window, wear a mask. Everyone has very different sensitivities. This one for me doesn't bother me as much as other ones that are UV resin, so I don't wear a mask for this one, but I do have my fan on, I do have my room open, and like airflow is very important because you don't want to get sick from the fumes. The other thing you're gonna want besides your mold, so let's just go through the product. You need a mold. You need UV resin. I strongly suggest you to have a silicone mat. And then you're also going to need one of these thingies, which is basically what you use for nails. So it's a nail lamp. And basically it's UV lamp. Okay. You can find these on Amazon. I think I got this one for like $20 or less maybe. Another thing I have on hand is these bathroom cups, where you dispense them for, your mouthwash or whatever like that. I use these because it's easy just to throw away. They do have stuff where you can get like a silicone cup if you prefer that. But then if you're working with multiple colors, again, this is just quick and easy. It's very affordable and you get a ton of them. So this is a 36 count. And again, I've had this for almost 4 years and I don't really do a lot of resin, but when I have it, it's just a supply that I just go to in my drawer. Another thing I suggest to have as well is wipes, just for kicks. And then the other thing that I have is a silicone tool for mixture. Again, you can use other utensils, but I'm looking at, you can use a toothpick, which I think I used initially, but once you use one, you got to toss it out. This one, since it's silicone of a stick, you can definitely get more use out of it because you just clean it, wipe it off, or you can actually put it under the UV lamp. Once the UV that's on here dries up, it basically just peels off. Kind of like if you had glue on your hand and you just peel it off kind of thing. The other thing that I do that created the colors that you see in my dinos are these mixtures. So I actually purchased this a couple years back off of Amazon. I think it was when they were doing one of their Prime days. If I can find it, I will let you know. It was like a whole kit. It had all of these in it. So the purple that I use is this violet glowing, although it's not glowing. The blue that is here is this blue. And then this one here, that's the white looking, is Kelly green. In my opinion, this one is the best one because it glows. So I'm gonna show you real quick if I can do it. Let's see. So I'm gonna put these under the lamp and get them like really, really, really good. And then let's see if you can see them. Isn't that freaking cool? I love these. I actually made like Care Bear ones and I put in them in my freebies as earrings because they were just so fun to make. I mean, the glow doesn't last very long, but it's kind of cool to see dinos on your ears. I just think that's so neat. All right, so let's get to the crafting, shall we? Because I kind of want to show you how I do it in case you're interested, and got all the housekeeping stuff out of the way. So the first thing I want to do is put down the silicone mat. I want to make sure that my tabletop is protected. The next thing you want to do is, depending on what type of mold you're working with, you first want to make sure how it's going to fit under your UV lamp. The reason why I suggest this, because it would suck if you were able to put UV resin throughout your whole entire mold, and then once you put it under the lamp, it's not covered enough for it to work. Number one, you're wasting product. Number two, you get aggravated. And number three, you got to start all over again. So why have that happen for you? So a simple thing to do is just basically put your mold down where you want it and then cover it with your UV lamp, which is what you're going to do. And then figure out at what point is it not touching the UV itself. So for me, making the first batch that I did, pretty much only covered up to here. So these last 3 rows that I have here weren't covered. So that gives me an indication of, depending on how much UV resin I curate for each color, how far it's gonna get me. I can't pass this marker right here. So I can only do all of these here. So now the next step is trying to figure out what you want to create. So I'm going to place the mold where I want to keep it. If you're capable of doing that, again, every mold is different, not sure what you're wanting to make. But that's something to think about so you're not having to move it. One more thing I forgot to mention, you're going to need one of these. If you have a lighter, I use this because I think it's easier, but you basically need this to get the bubbles out. There are air bubbles that are not acquired but created when you are pouring your resin into the mold between the air pocket from the pour, and you want to get that out so your mold, your make is completely solid. If you have a bigger project or a bigger mold, you might have to do it a little bit more time, of a fire portion to it to get us all the air bubbles to the surface. But these were pretty easy. I'm just trying to clean off some of this stuff. So let's get to it. I am going to play with new colors than what we have. Let's work with the teal. Let's do the kiwi color, and let's do a red. So let's see what those look like. So what I'm going to do is I'm pretty much going to prep my area because I want to make sure that I work quicker, efficient. So I'm going to use 3 different colors. So I'm going to take those out. I'm going to open these. And again, if you have any fur babies or anything like that that like to wander on your desk, this would probably be the best time not to allow them into your room. And therefore they wouldn't have an issue knocking things down. So the next thing we're going to do, and the reason why this is in a dark color bottle, is because again, UV resin, if any light got to it, it would then solidify it. So I'm just basically going to take this off, and what I pretty much do is I am going to squeeze 3 times into this cup. That pretty much got me 2 rows of one color. Everyone's squeeze is different, I get that, but I'm just letting you know what I'm doing in regards to how much I'm pouring. So I squeeze all the way down, squeeze all the way down, and squeeze again. So that's pretty much how much resin I have. The reason why I'm keeping it slanted is because I don't want to waste any and I want it to pour out. So keeping it at a 90-degree angle, I guess, keeps all my resin clustered in one spot. So I'm just gonna, let's do green first, and I'm just gonna basically be generous with my color. I'm gonna use my silicone stick, and I'm just gonna, like if we're baking a cake, and we're just trying to get in there and get all of that stuff evenly dispersed. And again, going through that. Now this part you might not be able to see me do because I'm going to be paying attention to where I'm pouring it. And so I'm going to make sure I don't go up too high where it overflows. So let's see if I can zoom you in to kind of get an idea of how it's going to look. This kind of looks like slime from like the Ninja Turtles ooze too. So very, very slowly, mainly because these little dinos are small. I don't want it to overflow. Now, the resin does expand. That little part is not touching, but I'm actually going to get that off because I don't want that to be a problem. So you just want to pour slightly, and again, it's just practice makes perfect. The first couple of times they overflowed, not thinking it was going to be a problem, and then later I realized why it was, and I keep pouring that on top of there. So you kind of get an idea where it's just slightly touching the surface. And then again, just like when you're baking cupcakes, you kind of you want to let it do its thing, and then you can come back to it and pour more if it's needed. I keep dropping this stuff in here. All right. Oh, I don't think I made any of these, did I? I don't think I poured as much as I did previously in other ones. So you see how this has moved over there, but this one did not. So we're just gonna come to this one and pour a little bit there, just get it to go from both sides. And then I really don't like how these are on here, because I don't want there to be any issue when I put it to get the UV to curate. So I'm gonna clean all of those off and get them nice and pretty. Now, I don't know if you can kind of see from where your point is, but these two here are not enough. There looks like there's still a little bit room for more, because you don't want them too thin. You want them to fit the entire mold, so they're all evenly dispersed and they all are the same. Now, if you're wanting to do earrings, what you need to do first is do 2 minutes of curating before you add your backing, because I tried to put the backing first before I curated, and what happened was it fell. It fell all the way down. It drowned. So what I'm doing is I'm cleaning off this with a wipey. Probably should just get another one. And now we're gonna move on to the next color. So I am just letting them sit here, and now we're going to make the next color. I still have some left over in the other one, so I might not do too much of a squeeze. And then we're gonna use now the teal. So it looks white, but it will show up teal when it is, you know, in the sun and then in the darkness. So I think it's pretty. So again, I'm just swirling around, and we're gonna do the same exact thing. And again, we're just gonna start. And we're just gonna do a little by little. And again, it kind of reminds me of just cupcake batter. It's really, in my opinion, what it looks like. All right, so not having the 3 full squeezes doesn't get me to my 4th dino. So I'm gonna actually pour in some more, because I want to get that 4th dino, because I didn't get it in the other one. So I'm gonna pour some more of that color. And as you see, I'm still using different cups for different colors. And I'm not throwing it away yet, because it's not under the UV lamp, it's not going to curate or harden, I guess is the right word I should be using. And get this one in the little head. Okay. You just want to take your time, monitor it, make sure you're not going to have to do more work later, and that way when it's done, it's done. So this one up here on the front looks like it needs a little bit more. So I'm going to pour some more in there. Now, if you wanted to do different colors, you could definitely do different colors. You would just have to curate each time that you're doing it, and because this is a different color, it seems like I had more in the first one than the second one. All right, so with this one, I do see a little dot. Again, it just bothers me. So I'm just going to take that off. And I see another one here. And I see that this one actually doesn't have that much in it. It's not 100% full, so I'm going to, come on, drop some more. Okay. So now I'm going to do our last color. Now, how many minutes you need to get it completely solid, it really depends on the type of mold you are using. I say 4 minutes minimum, but you may need to have 6 to 8 depending on the thickness. So if it's sticky when you're done, then it's not cured. It's not solid. It's not done. Baking, I guess. Whatever word you want to use. It's kind of hard to know which is the correct choice of words, because we are technically baking it in a way. All right, so this is the one we're gonna do here. Now this is supposed to be red, but it doesn't look red to me. I don't know what it looks like to you guys. But it looks like a neon pink or pinkish red. I think this one's pouring a lot faster than the other ones for some weird reason. All right, might have to pour some more. Let's see. Seems like I'm not gonna get the full Dino. So this is the part that I always get frustrated with, not knowing if you have the enough resin to fill what you want to fill. But thankfully I can just pour a little bit. Probably just need to do a little bit of this and see if that's enough. And then drop a little bit in there. All right, so I think, oh wait, that one doesn't have enough either. This one in the front. So now what we're gonna do next is we are going to take our heating tool. I don't know if it's wise to use that one doesn't have enough either. Oh my gosh, Michelle. Okay. So we're gonna take our lighter, and I'm basically going to try to get this to light. Was working earlier today. I tell you. There we go. Ah! Here we go. So I'm just gonna go over it, and I know you probably cannot see it, but all the bubbles are coming to the surface, and they are popping, so I'm not gonna have any bubbles on the back of my make. If you forget to do this and you see bubbles in your make, that is why you missed this step. Obviously you definitely don't want to start a fire, but you definitely need to have something where it can reach your make and not burn yourself. So I believe that was all of them. All right. So the next step after this is yeah, it's still going. I'm just gonna put that there for a minute. Weird. All right, so now we're gonna put our UV nail lamp here, and we're going to do it for 60 seconds. Make sure your entire thing is covered, and I'm not gonna bore you being on here for 60 seconds. I'm gonna do this 2 times, okay, and then I'll come back on to show you how to do the earring portion. All right, so while it's counting down the last 30 seconds, you basically want to go through your sections of what you want. I think we're gonna do another set of earrings, so I'm basically gonna get that out. You're gonna need, obviously, unless you're just doing one color for each, I'm gonna do it as a pair. So I need 2 more, and then I have these 2 over here. And then again, if you want any of those hooky things. So now it has been 2 minutes since this has curate. I'm just gonna lift this up, put it off to the side. Now these are not completely done. I can kind of tell a little bit, but what I'm gonna do is, for these, I'm going to, since I have a little bit more left over, let's actually do this one since it's already red. We're gonna go and see which one we want to add our earrings to. So what I do is I'm actually going to take a little bit on my little picky thing here, and I'm just put it on here, and then again put it on this one, and I'm just adding a little tiny layer to it. And by doing that, I then can add the backing of my earring, and you want to place it wherever you feel is suitable. I want it in the middle because I want the person to wear them. Well, I think there should be worn on the bottom, but you can obviously put them wherever you want. And then you're going to clean off your tool, and then you're going to go to the next section and figure out where you want them. Now, I had my last T-Rex with the clear one, so I think I'm gonna go with this one over here. And I did that again. I don't know what the hell, what's going on with me. There we go. So again, just giving it a light layer. And then I'm gonna clean this off. And then I'm going to do the 2 here. And again, you just want it to be where you want it positioned. And then we're gonna do the last one. The last one, I haven't done this little guy here, so I think I'm going to put it in this one. And I feel like it had not as much as the other ones did for some weird reason. So I want to fill this one up a little bit more. What I tell you not to do, and I supposedly do it. Okay. So I want to clean this up. And then I'm going to take the earring portion and put that there. All right, so now what we're gonna do next is we are gonna go back to our process, because remember, we've only done 2 minutes. So I'm gonna close it again and do another, this time I'm gonna do 3 minutes. I did 2 minutes last time, or I did a total of 4 minutes last time, and I felt like it was still a little sticky. So I felt like a total of 5 minutes was best. Typically, I usually use this time to clean up. This is when you want to probably get a garbage bag or a shopping bag and put away all of your product that you're not going to reuse, and then that kind of like fills up that time. So all of these cups that you don't want to use anymore, I have some resin left over, so I might just make a few more. And then you want to make sure you have your other stuff. So you have your Dremel that you're going to use for that, and then the earrings are going to be completely done. excuse me, when they're done curating. So I'm gonna do another 2 more minutes and then I will be right back. So I was waiting. I thought it was something else that would be kind of cool. I found these little tiny magnets that I had in my drawer, and I thought these would be kind of neat if I can get one off, to put on the back of one of these little guys. Now obviously I didn't think about this before, but how cute would it be to fit one of these back here, and then resin it in just like I would the earring. All right, so it is done. So this part is what I think is the funnest. So if you're unsure if your mold is done, what I basically suggest is just touch it. It's going to be a little warm because it was under a UV lamp. But if it is sticky, then it needs to go in it again. Because again, it's not cured. It's not cured. But these feel fine. And then now we just pop them out. So here we go with this guy. He's just so stinking cute. And again, these can be added as flat backs, like cabochons, or you can do the Dremel and drill them in. Or you can just add little resin in the back to make the earring. So here is the little guy, and then on the back, so it's sturdy because again, we put that resin to adhere onto it. You could definitely use, I guess, super glue. I'm not sure how sturdy it would be. I would think that the resin would be stronger because it's how do you call it, cured into it. And yeah, so let me know if you guys have been playing with UV resin. What kind of stuff have you been making? I'm definitely going to be putting these as my freebies in my shop. Hopefully people know someone that wears earrings if they don't wear earrings. But I just think they're so cute. So I'm just going to take the rest of these out. Oh my god, these are so adorable. I can't believe I didn't make these the first batch. I completely overlooked them. So cute. And then my T-Rex. I can't wait to see the movie. So they are as adorable as the mold reflects. That's all I gotta say. But these are so freaking cute. And then here is the so let's see if they glow in the dark like the other ones did. So look, this one actually fell in a little bit, if you can kind of see how that looks a little deeper. Yeah, so I don't really like that. I like it when it's completely looks flat on it. It doesn't look terrible, but anyways. All right, so let's see if any of these glow. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick them under the light, and I'm gonna turn this one off, and then I'll turn this one off. So the green ones and the teal ones, the red one slightly. I wonder if it's just the way that the coloring is sitting. Let me try it one more time. Just keep them under there. I think that it could be that the powder is sitting toward the bottom of the mold, which is the front of when you take them out. And so maybe that's what's causing it. All right, so here they are again. So again, I really love the teal. The teal is awesome. The green one, not terrible, but again, you see how this portion here, so maybe if I had more of the powder in it. And then the red one, I mean, I guess sort of, but I guess they look more red in the light than when they weren't. To me, they really just look like a dark pink or deep pink. I don't know how to reference it. Anyways, so let me know your thoughts. I'm very curious. I'm definitely going to have fun with these little guys. And then again, I just thought about the magnet. Let me put on the other light. And I just thought about the magnet, so I thought it would be kind of cool. You know, you put them on the back, and then you can put them on your little planners. Like, I have a planner in my kitchen, to be honest with you, that tells me what's going on with the activities in my house for the month. So if you have like a planner like that, a wall planner, this would be kind of cute to put. If you're having like a play day, then you have a little dinosaur on it or something like that. But These little guys are so cute. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. Oh, let's do a drum roll real quick. Let me show you how I do it. Okay, so we'll do this little guy right here. So I'm gonna look for a point where I need to have the Dremel to go through. I need to have, let's just turn it to the back. If we go to the back here, it would have to be at a slight angle, and then think about how he's gonna be positioned in regards to the placement of, you know, the jump ring with the string and all that. So if we wanted to put it back here, we're gonna have to do it at an angle. So let's try that one, since the other one I did as a head. Then we're also going to have to pay attention to the thickness here and figure out where we're gonna poke it. So probably gonna try to poke it there. So what I try to do first is I hit it one time and that just starts it. Let me do it the second time. And you definitely want to make sure you can do this. If you can't, get someone else to do it. But now I'm just pushing through. And you can kind of see where the tool is going through on the other side. And look, I just went through the back. So I wasn't going straight, I was going at an angle. That's something you definitely don't want. So I'm gonna turn this off and see how far I would get. So if I were to put this through, that's how far I would get. So let's try it. So I'm just gonna get it started. And see if I can move it. The other thing I suggest to get as well is one of these jewelry pliers, just to kind of help you with it, because sometimes these things are pains in the butt. Let me go the opposite way. Well, I think it's the other righty-tighty, right? Nope. There we go. It was just the way I was doing it. Okay. So you're basically just gonna twist it. And then when you can't twist anymore, you're gonna use this. But this is where you gotta be careful, because I kept breaking them. And then once they go inside, then obviously you can't see. Oh, maybe I didn't break it. Maybe I broke the back of it. So you just take your time. Oh, look, I did crack it. I can see the crack. So we're just gonna leave him right there. Now I could probably get resin and put that on the back and then probably salvage it. But I don't really like it on that side. Let's take another one. Let's do this guy. So I'm gonna put him in between the two top little things. So right in that center right there. And let's hope and pray I don't go sideways again. So I did it at the 2 setting, and I'm gonna hold my guy and I'm gonna try to get it right in the middle. And go straight down. And I think that's good. And let's give him a gold one. And so we're just going again, twist it. There we go. And carefully just twist, twist, twist. Now, because you have the 2 little points for his back, you are probably not going to be able to get the hook in there. So you see, I'm almost at the tip. So I might just be able to do one more turn and just call it. So now we have the little guy looking so cute. And now I can add them to something, and then we pretty much just created our own little charm. So I really like it. So again, I'm going to leave you now. So if you have any questions on anything I shared with you, by all means, let me know. If you have any tips for me, I'm open to them. Please let me know your tips or what works for you. I'm not sure if they have any more of these in different styles. I'll look online because they are really cool, but I got them because they were glow in the dark, and I think that's kind of neat, having a glow in the dark option. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. So take care. Bye.